You know, my wife and I have had a Thrive Market membership for quite a while now, and we have no plans to give it up. There's a lot to love about Thrive Market, but a couple of things we really love is the convenience of getting items delivered and being able to filter by dietary preference for the entire family. Thrive Market is a membership-based grocery service where you can shop from wherever you are. Simply just hop on their app. The membership breaks down to just $5 a month, and it gives members access to weekly sales, personalized shopping with filters, auto ship and save, free gifts, and peace of mind, knowing there's no junk in any of the products they carry. Instead of paying fees on every grocery delivery order, you pay once for the year and benefit from it every time you shop. And the membership gives me access to brands and flavors I never see in my local store. And I don't have to worry about perusing labels because Thrive Market's already done that for me. And for less than the price of one latte, I get all of this. Ready to make healthy swaps and become a member? Join Thrive Market with our link, thrivemarket.com/TCATT for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 478 of the True Crime All the Time podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
You know, we talked about it on Patreon, but my youngest is turning 21.
She is.
So we've got that going on. My daughter's getting married in a few months. We got Crime Con. I just got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on for both of us.
Some of it is making me feel old.
Because you are old.
I am old. Not as old as you, but I actually feel probably older than you.
You look older than me.
I do.
People say it all the time.
Yeah, they do say it all the time. Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Meredith Foley.
Hey, Meredith.
Kim Queenan.
What's going on, Queenan?
Renart.
Hey, thank you, Ren.
Jackie Connor jumped out to our highest level.
Oh, Jackie.
Yvonne Douglas.
Hey, Douglas.
Vicky.
What's happening, Vicky?
Katie Purvis.
Well, there's the Purvis.
And last but not least, Kathleen Cotton.
Well, Kathleen, thank you.
And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Christine.
Like the car, Christine?
Yeah. I don't know if she goes by that, but you know, we appreciate the new support, the continued support.
We do.
We have a new episode out right now on True Crime All the Time Unsolved, where we're talking about Don Henry and Kevin Ives. This is in small town Arkansas when these two best friends were found dead on the train track.
Yeah.
And authorities believe it was an accident. The family doesn't think so. So we'll get into all of those details.
I think it's an interesting case.
It is. It really is. And then on Thursday's TCAT episode, we're talking about Angela Montgomery. And this is a fascinating case. She basically portrayed herself as someone else online to befriend a woman so that she could steal her young twins.
And this people going online committing these crimes today, it's just going to be one of those things that's going to continue to grow, right? Because you can be whoever you want to be online.
Yeah.
And
I think AI maybe even makes that scarier.
I think it does. Yeah.
But that's out Thursday. Make sure you check it out. It'll be on both the podcast feed and on video up on YouTube. All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time?
I am.
We're talking about Bobby Farrell Jr. Bobby Farrell Jr. left his home in New Richmond, Ohio on July 6, 2021 and never returned. And the killer turned out to be a complete shock to his friends and family. He was someone who Bobby trusted implicitly, and also someone who had become part of the Farrell family over the years.
It scares me when you have something terrible happen because of somebody so close to you.
Yeah. I mean, I think the closer someone is to you, the scarier it is. Yeah. Not that stranger murders aren't scary. They are.
It's kind of like when Michael grabbed his brother, said, I knew it was you.
Oh, in The Godfather?
Yeah. What was his name?
Well, he didn't kill him right then. Fredo?
Fredo, yeah.
Yeah, he killed him later on, or had him killed later on. Robert Franklin Farrell, who went by the nickname Bobby, was born on December 19th, 1997 in Cincinnati. Bobby was the second of 3 children. He had a strong bond with his older brother Tyler and his younger sister Katie. Katie described Bobby as the biggest clown who could make anyone laugh. Bobby had a good sense of humor and could fill a room with positive energy, according to his family. Bobby played football and wrestled. He also loved art and sketching, a hobby he kept up after graduating high school.
You're a pretty good sketcher, aren't you?
No, I cannot draw at all.
Oh, you can't?
Not at all.
No art talent.
I have no artistic ability whatsoever. But you do have some things in common with Bobby. I mean, the football, the wrestling. I'm assuming there was a singlet involved.
Probably.
At some point. During his sophomore year, Bobby fell in love with a girl named Stacy, who he met through a mutual friend. They did everything together, and his family thought she was the one.
Good old Stacy and her mom.
Yeah, this is that song that you're always referencing that I actually am not all that familiar with. But, I do want to talk about this, right? When your kids are dating someone.
Yeah.
At what point do you think this could be the one? I mean, obviously it differs because most people, let's face it, when you're in high school, you might date a bunch of different people. The relationships don't last that long.
Right.
For my oldest daughter, it was completely the opposite.
Yeah, that's true.
She met her now fiance in like the 9th grade, and they have been inseparable ever since. And they're getting married this year.
They're like one of those old time stories,
Yeah.
Where they met in high school early on and stayed together forever.
So I can honestly say that we knew pretty early on that, he was the one for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know with my daughter, I didn't feel that for a few of the people she dated, but then the last guy she dated that she married, I was like, I hope he's the one.
Stacy was friends with a boy named Keontae Gardner, who started coming around to hang out at Bobby's house. Keontae and Bobby quickly became best friends. Keontae's mother worked a lot, so he spent much of his time with the Farrell family. The boys hung out as often as they could, and Bobby's parents truly considered Keontae part of their family. And I'm sure, a lot of people listening, if you got kids, I'm sure there were different people in their lives at points who were over all the time. They were eating dinner. They stayed all night. That's kind of normal.
Yeah. And I had a friend that called my mom.
Yeah.
Every time he came over, he would say, how you doing, Mom? And she just ate it up. She loved it.
Bobby's older brother, Tyler, said Keontae and Bobby were glue, hanging out every day, every night, all day, every day. I looked at Keontae as a little brother. That was Bobby's best friend. So I think it's really giving you a sense here of just what Bobby's family thought of Keontae.
Yeah.
They looked at him as family, at some point in time. During Bobby's senior year, Stacy found out she was pregnant. Bobby was only 19 at the time, and he and Stacy were scared. He didn't think he was ready to be a father yet. And I can honestly say I was not ready to be a father at 19.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people are. Now, a lot of people make it work.
Sure they do.
Sometimes you just have no choice, right? You have to learn how to be a father. But at 19, I was really selfish, much more than I even am today. I know you're about ready to say something about it, but
Never.
I was 27 by the time, my wife and I had our first child.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was more established in my career. We had a little bit more money. I had settled down from my kind of partying ways.
I was very similar, right? I had my first child when I was 30. So I just felt like I needed to get a few things done before I went that route.
Yeah, and I think 35 years ago, that was not the norm.
No.
To wait till you were 30.
It was a little late.
Are you just going to gloss over the fact that I said 35 years ago?
I just hit me. Right.
Are you going to do the math there, Mensa?
Oh, feel the love. Feel the love.
The fact that you didn't catch it is kind of amazing. Bobby graduated high school in 2016 and worked as a dispatcher for Total Quality Logistics. He was excited when he found out he was having a daughter. It was around this time that he and Stacy moved in together. And then their baby was born in April 2017. Their daughter was born legally blind. Bobby and Stacy were worried about her, and they had a hard time adjusting to being new parents to a baby with a disability. It was stressful having to take her to extra doctor's appointments.
Just having your first baby, stressful enough.
Sure.
But then if you add some type of disability, that's going to be stressful. And then like you just mentioned, they're going to extra doctor appointments. That's tough, to have all that scheduling that you have to work around.
And they're young, right? We mentioned that. They're fairly young. Bobby and Stacy were fighting often. They decided to end their relationship, but maintain their friendship and had a peaceful and positive co-parenting relationship. And, I've said it before. My parents are divorced, and they did a really good job of, staying friendly, at least when they were around me.
Yeah.
And to this day, they're friendly. So I know it was never that contentious, but I think it does make a big difference because divorce is hard enough. But if your parents hate each other and they're always bad-mouthing each other, okay, that might make it a little tougher.
Sure, yeah. And I've had friends that used to fight in front of their kids, and I would tell them, guys, when you're around the kids, don't fight. Take it outside. Wait till the kids are asleep, whatever. Don't do it in front of the kids. It's not fair to them. And it's not.
No, it really isn't. Bobby eventually started dating again. One of those women was a girl named Angel. Bobby wanted to pursue a serious relationship with Angel, but she was jealous of the fact that Stacy visited Bobby's house often because of their daughter. And hey, when you have a co-parenting situation, things like that are going to happen.
You really can't be jealous of somebody that has a ongoing relationship, like you said, because of a child they have together.
Well, you can be, but it's not going to be conducive to this new relationship that you're in.
Exactly.
And Bobby and Angel eventually broke up. Although Bobby was still pursuing a stable romantic relationship, his problems with Angel continued. For example, Angel got a job across the street from his parents' house, and she started exhibiting concerning behavior. She would sit in her car across the street and watch the house to see if Bobby was there. She also texted him to ask who was over. So we got a little light stalking.
So it's kind of stalkish
going on. So Bobby may have had some drama in his relationships with women, but he didn't have any real enemies, which is why it was so shocking when he went missing. On July 6, 2021, Bobby went out with Keontae, something he'd done many times before. The doorbell camera captured the two friends leaving at 5:38 p.m. Bobby told his mom he was going for a ride. His mother told them to be careful, and Bobby said he'd be back in a bit. According to WLWT, Bobby didn't take his wallet, cash, cards, or ID, and did not have a license or car.
Well, he was just running out for a little bit, right? Maybe he felt he didn't need to have all that on him.
Maybe. I think, if you're driving a car, okay, much more reason, right, to have some cash, your wallet.
Yeah.
Because you might need gas or you might need something like that. If you're just running out real quick with a friend, Okay, maybe you decide you don't need to take anything.
Yeah.
Keontae arrived alone at Bobby's older brother Tyler's house at 8:15 p.m. Keontae said he dropped Bobby off at Dee's Dairy Barn in New Richmond. Bobby met up with a woman in a black car. He wasn't sure who it was, but he thought it could have been Bobby's ex-girlfriend, Angel. Bobby's mother, Jenny Farrell, recalled, well, immediately my stomach just started turning because I didn't like Angel. I didn't trust her. They were always arguing. And in my opinion, Angel and Bobby had a very toxic relationship.
Well, so now she's got to be nervous.
Bobby's mother?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, you're going to be nervous just from the fact that you don't know where your son is.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to know where he is. But when you get this very specific piece of information that he might have last been seen with his ex-girlfriend, someone you don't like and who you know he had a toxic relationship with, then, maybe the level of anxiety does increase.
I think so.
Her husband tried to reassure her that Bobby was fine. The next morning, though, there was still no sign of Bobby. And it was a big day for the family because Tyler's wife was having a planned C-section. According to Bobby's sister, Katie, they were going to have a parking lot party until the baby arrived. I don't know if that's like a tailgate.
I'm thinking it's kind of like a tailgate.
That's what I was kind of had in my mind. But, the one thing that this does for me is, and you see it quite a bit in some cases, right? There are things that are planned, big things. And this is a big deal, right? Your brother is having a baby. His wife is having a baby. And you've made plans to show up and have this parking lot party. When you don't show, to me, that becomes a big deal.
Yeah, it does.
Much more so than like if nothing was planned for a couple of days. Okay, maybe someone makes the argument that, well, he just took off. He needed to get away for a while. But when you miss something like this, I think it raises the stakes. Jenny tried calling Bobby and received no answer. She knew he would want to be there for his brother. And she also knew he would not abandon his own young daughter. Even if Bobby was planning to stay out overnight, he always told someone. He also wasn't answering any of his siblings' texts. Jenny decided to text Keontae, who said he dropped Bobby off the day before. So, if I'm a member of the family, Gibbs, I'm looking at, okay, he doesn't show up for, this planned C-section.
Yeah.
And he's not texting back any of his siblings. And I know, from my own household, there's a good chance if I text one of my daughters, it might take a while for them to get back to me.
Yeah.
But they respond to each other's texts very quickly.
Exactly. We were just talking about that the other day, me and your daughters. They were texting me. I was texting them back. And I'm like, have you told your dad? No, we'll tell him later.
Oh, Uncle Gibby. A thoughtfully built wardrobe comes down to pieces that mix well and last. That's where Quince shines. Premium fabrics, considered design, and everyday essentials that feel effortless to wear and dependable, even as the seasons change. My wife absolutely adores their lightweight cashmere sweaters. I'm more of a flow knit performance type of guy, but they have everything I need. Lightweight joggers, shorts, tops, but they also have coats, European jersey linen. Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middlemen. You're not paying for brand markup or fancy retail stores, just quality clothing. And they only partner with factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. Right now, go to quince.com/TCAT for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's a full year to build your wardrobe and love it. And you will. Now available in Canada too. Don't keep settling for clothes that don't last. Go to QUINCE.com/TCATT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TCAT. Keontae also sent the family a screenshot of a text exchange he had with Bobby later that night that seemingly backed up his account. In these text messages, Keontae asked where he was, and Bobby replied that he was still with Angel. So, I mean, I think if you're the family, obviously, you want to hear from Keontae because he seems to be one of the last people to have seen Bobby or know what he was doing. But these screenshots probably had to kind of make the family feel a little bit better.
Comfort.
Yeah. I mean, at least when it came to him.
Right.
Now, it might make them worry a little bit more about Angel because they've got their reservations about her. Jenny then called Stacy, who said she hadn't seen Bobby since July 1st. By the afternoon, the family decided to report Bobby missing. Detectives spoke to Keontae because he was one of the last people to see Bobby. He told the same story, that he dropped Bobby off at Dee's Dairy Barn and a girl in a black car picked him up. Police Sergeant Jason Mallett noticed that Keontae was avoiding eye contact during his interview, and he felt like something was off. He contacted Jenny Farrell and asked if Keontae could be involved in Bobby's disappearance. He felt like Keontae knew more than he was telling.
That eye contact thing, with kids, I could always tell if my kids didn't maintain good eye contact.
Mm-hmm. Dogs do the same thing.
Do they?
Yeah. Have you ever seen a dog when you ask them if they chewed this thing up or whatever? Yeah. They won't look at you.
They know.
A lot of them will turn their heads. And I'm not comparing kids to dogs, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
This is, though, one of the reasons why I do enjoy watching like police interrogations.
Yeah.
I like watching the body language because it oftentimes does give some things away.
You can learn from that.
However, at this time, Jenny was still suspicious that perhaps Bobby's ex, Angel, was involved. And like I said, maybe some of that goes back to, Keontae providing these text messages that seemingly backed up, his version of events.
Yeah.
Sergeant Mallett asked Jenny if Keontae stuttered. When she questioned him about Bobby, Jenny noted that Keontae had always had a stutter, so the detective shouldn't use this against him. Jenny recalled that she left the conversation angry with Sergeant Mallett. She said in her interview for the show Killer Relationship with Faith Jenkins, because it was a small town, stuff like this didn't happen down there. Case closed. It was the black kid, And I understand where she's coming from. You have this person in law enforcement who is questioning you about someone who you consider part of the family.
Yeah.
The thought early on has to be, well, there's no way Keontae would do anything. He's Bobby's best friend. He would never hurt him. And so, yeah, I can see why she would get angry.
Like you're just targeting in on him.
And maybe that racial component was a part of her thinking. Jenny made a Facebook post asking if anyone had seen or heard from Bobby. Her post received over 200 comments. One of them was from Angel, who wrote, "You hate me now? I'm not even done yet. Wait till I make your life hell."
Wow. Okay,
so first of all, I don't want to denigrate this woman, but that seems like a terrible thing to post in the wake of, somebody disappearing.
I would say so.
But it also has to make someone like Jenny kind of focus in on Angel even more than she already was. Bobby's sister, Katie, also saw that Angel posted a tweet that said, "You get what you deserve."
Okay. I mean, that could mean a few things, but I think the family's going to think that it's directed towards Bobby.
Jenny called the police to report the social media post. She was informed that Bobby's case had been assigned to the Bureau of Criminal Investigations. The BCI decided to bring Angel in for questioning. And I don't know how they couldn't, right? You have one person saying that they believed the last person Bobby was with was Angel. I'm sure there were people saying that this relationship was toxic and there was a lot of going on. And then you have these really kind of rough social media posts.
It just makes sense to pull her in and have a conversation with her.
Angel told investigators that Keontae texted her the night Bobby went missing. She texted Bobby and asked why he told Keontae he was with her. She never saw him that night. Angel also noted that her car was gray, not black. And she gave investigators permission to look at her phone.
Well, that's a pretty big step there.
Yeah, I think it shows some cooperation. Does it absolutely mean that she didn't have anything to do with it? No, but, cooperation normally goes a long way with investigators. Angel was then asked about her tweet. She said it was not about Bobby. It was about a young woman she was arguing with because this woman thought she was trying to sleep with her husband. Right? Angel's got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, she does.
She's got a lot of irons in the fire, as somebody might say.
She's keeping her options open.
Angel acknowledged she had feelings for Bobby, but said things didn't work out because they argued a lot. She was asked if she knew anybody that wanted to hurt Bobby. She said she knew about him having an altercation with a man named Corey Goodwin, who was allegedly part of a gang in Cincinnati. Back in April 2021, a couple of months before he went missing, Bobby briefly dated a woman named Courtney McIntosh, but her new boyfriend Corey told Bobby to back off. Corey asked Angel for Bobby's address, but she wouldn't give it to him because Corey wanted to fight him.
It's like, I'm not going to let you have that address because that's just going to be trouble.
Yeah, but this also takes me back to high school, kind of late teens, right? You're dating a lot of different people. Some of those people have angry ex-boyfriends or new boyfriends or, there can be some very contentious moments.
Oh, absolutely. I know you had your fair share.
I did. I also witnessed a lot of interactions with people who had nothing to do with me. I saw, one of my friends get a pool stick broken over his back by one of our other friends.
Yeah.
That's just how it was back then. Now, investigators looked into whether Bobby was seeing Courtney again and whether Corey found out and wanted to harm him. So, they looked at Angel, and for good reason, right? She had a lot of things going against her, or things that at least put her on the radar. Now you've got this guy named Corey who people are saying was upset with Bobby, wanted to fight Bobby. Obviously, they're going to have to look at this guy.
Right.
Records showed that Bobby's phone stopped transmitting in Norwood, where Corey Goodwin lived. And okay, that's not going to get you off radar. If anything, it's going to put you more firmly on there. Corey and Courtney came in for separate interviews. Courtney said she hadn't seen Bobby in 2 months, but they knew he was missing because of social media. Courtney admitted that Bobby hit her up and that Corey and Bobby exchanged words over text, but that was it. They had talked about fighting, but never met in person. And there was a lot of that too. Even, back in our day, Gibbs, we didn't have texts.
Yeah.
So you couldn't text somebody and say, hey, I'm going to kick your ass. What you could do is spread the word through other people.
Absolutely is what you did.
And it happened that way quite often. You might tell one of their friends or tell one of your friends who then relate it to them.
There was a little bit of buildup going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the time it was just posturing that never led to anything.
That's true. Except that one time at 3:00.
3:00 high?
Yeah.
When you had your bodyguard
Exactly.
with the green jacket, the green coat.
Had him show up.
Corey said he'd heard of Bobby before he and Courtney started dating. On April 20th, he was aware that they had a prior relationship. He messaged Bobby on Facebook and told him to leave Courtney alone. He denied harming Bobby in any way and let the police check his phone data. And, for me, this kind of era of social media and texts is both a good thing and a bad thing for people. It's good in the sense that I think it can help clear you, but I think a lot of people send stuff electronically that they shouldn't be sending.
Yeah, that's true.
That can really easily be proven. And you think about back when we were teenagers, Okay, somebody says that you said something. There's no record of it.
That's right. It's hearsay.
Now there's a record of almost everything, it seems like. Corey said he was working during the time Bobby went missing and his alibi was verified. So, I think on paper, Corey looked, pretty good to police as possibly being involved in whatever happened to Bobby. But ultimately, his phone data, his alibi, I think all of that pretty much cleared him.
Right.
Bobby's family came together to distribute missing persons posters. The family put their phone numbers on the poster and were soon inundated with alleged sightings of Bobby. They followed up on as many tips as they could. Keontae and Stacy also participated in the search efforts, but none of these tips led to Bobby's whereabouts. And it's something that we talk about with police a lot, right? When you put information out, you're going to get deluged with tips.
Yeah.
And in this case, the family is putting their phone number out there. I get why they're doing it. They want to hear from anybody. The problem is you're going to hear from a lot of people
that may or may not have anything to do with what happened.
Well, the majority of them are not going to be correct.
Yeah.
The tips are going to be maybe well-intentioned, but incorrect. And some are just going to be plain lies or people kind of messing with the family, which is horrible, as we've talked about before.
It truly is. And we know that even goes on today, right? I mean, the big case right now, Nancy Guthrie, all those tips they get that they have to weed through because so many of them are just bad tips.
Yeah. And I'm sure some of them are well-intentioned, but just incorrect. But like you said, some of them, I'm sure people are just calling in with bogus info or stuff they know is not even true.
And that always bugs me. Why do individuals feel like they need to do that? This is somebody's loved one.
And they're grieving.
Yeah.
Right? They're having a really hard time, and you obviously are not helping that situation at all.
Do you think this is the time to mess with somebody? I don't know.
Meanwhile, detectives searched for video evidence to support Keontae's story. None of the cameras in the area surrounding Dee's Dairy Bar captured Keontae's vehicle, Bobby, or the black car in question. This meant that there was no proof of Keontae's version of events. So investigators subpoenaed Keontae's cell records on July 10th and learned that Keontae and Bobby's phones were traveling together much later than the time Keontae said he dropped Bobby off. Their phones went north toward an area near the Cincinnati Zoo. And this is an area that I know very well because it's, very close to where both of my girls went to college or are going now.
Yeah, yeah. But isn't it interesting now that the spotlight has shifted and they're going to look at somebody that probably never thought they had to look at?
Well, my thought is, Keontae was on the radar early on. But when you have so many members of the family coming out and saying, oh, there's no way it could be him, right? He and Bobby are so close. They're like brothers. They're best friends. Okay. Then some other people start to pop up, right? Angel, Corey. That's probably going to take precedent over checking into Keontae because the family's so adamant that they just don't think it could be him.
Yeah.
On July 11th, Keontae was brought in for a second interview. At first, he told the same version of events. But when he was confronted with his phone's path of travel to Cincinnati, he changed his story. Keontae claimed he drove Bobby to a wooded area and he got into a vehicle there. Keontae left and he didn't know what happened after that. And how many times do we talk about it? But it's always fascinating. Okay, I've got my version of events and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, police kind of blow things out of the water because they have proof that what I've been saying so far can't possibly be true. So I've got to come up with an alternate version.
I got to pivot now.
Yeah, have to. And this version has me dropping Bobby off in a wooded area where he gets into some mysterious vehicle. Chianti was told he had to tell the truth, but he continued lying. This time, he claimed he took Bobby to a spot where a car was waiting for him and mentioned that Bobby owed somebody money. And he was questioned for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And the whole time, he insisted he didn't know where Bobby was.
So he was holding on to his lies.
Yeah, but he's making different ones. And you know the police are keying in on that, right? First you said this, and then you said something different. Now you're saying something else. Either you're just a habitual liar or you are trying to throw us off.
And I mean, if you're the investigator, you got to be doubling down on that, right? Like we got him. Something's going on here. We can't let up.
One of the BCI agents spoke to Bobby's family and decided to bring Stacy into the room because Chianti always seemed at ease with her. Stacy forced Chianti to look into her eyes. She told him she needed the truth. And after about 25 minutes, he was ready to talk. And this is kind of amazing, right? You have these trained, hardened detectives who are trying to break this kid down. They can't do it.
Yeah.
But Stacy, who, has known him for a long time, essentially just has to look him in the eyes and say, hey, we got to have the truth. And then he breaks.
Yeah.
He said that they shot Bobby twice in the head. So BCI agents returned to questioning Chianti. He confirmed Bobby was dead, but shut down and offered no further details. And I thought it was interesting that he used the word they.
Sure.
So, I mean, obviously he's indicating that he wasn't alone. He had somebody else with him. Finally, he said that when he picked Bobby up on July 6th, his acquaintance and marijuana dealer, a man he knew as Boog, was already in the car. He owed Boog up to $10,000.
It's a lot of money, though, somebody.
Yeah, I don't like to owe money to anyone, but $10,000 is a boatload of money. Boog threatened to kill Chianti and one of his family members unless he set Bobby up to be robbed. At the end of his interview, Chianti was arrested and charged with obstruction of justice. So, I mean, finally he's implicating himself, right? But even this story to me sounds a little bit strange. I get it. You owe your drug dealer a bunch of money, but how much money does Bobby have? He's a young guy with a child. They're going to rob him of what?
Yeah, that's true.
What's he bringing with him on this trip that is going to be worth $10,000?
I mean, if you remember when he left the house, he left his wallet and
he didn't take anything with him.
Yeah. But now if you're the family, are you like so upset that now that this person you thought was like a brother to him, like a son to you? I mean, how disappointed are you? If that's even the right word.
No, I think you'd be disappointed. You'd be outraged, disgusted. There'd be all kinds of emotions. Bobby's family expressed their heartbreak and shock after the arrest. Bob Farrell told WLWT, every person that searched asked about him. What about the dude that seen him last? Not him. That's his best friend. They would never do that to each other. And then comes out to find out that's him. I mean, what am I supposed to feel like in my life? It was like one of my sons killed my son. And I think he's saying, what you were just talking about. They looked at this kid like a son.
Heartbreaking, I would think, for them. It would be heartbreaking for me.
Yeah. 2 heartbreaks, right?
Yeah.
Number one, to find out that your son is dead, but then secondly, to find out that it was at the hands of this kid that, had stayed at your house, was essentially part of your family. Bob added, really, we've got 2 kids gone now. That's how my wife says, now that, besides the fact that my Bobby's gone, she was like, Chianti's gone too. I love that kid. So I think it's all kind of backing that up. The family recalled how Chianti hugged them and cried with them while searching for Bobby, he claimed he didn't know Boog's actual name, and they met on PlayStation. Investigators seized the device and were eventually able to identify Boog as Christian Beasley. I don't know how many people meet their drug dealers on PlayStation. I'm assuming the percentage is not that high, but what I will say is that a lot of times when you're playing online, you don't always know people's real names. Most people go by a nickname or something like that. There's a ton of people I play basketball with online that I have no idea what their real name is.
And they don't know they're playing with you.
They don't. A BCI analyst reviewed phone records to try to pinpoint where Bobby's body might be found. Agents drove down the phone's path of travel. On July 12, 2021, Bobby's remains were found along State Route 222 in New Richmond. Bobby's remains had decomposed and he was identified via dental records. He had one apparent gunshot wound to his skull. On July 22, 2021, Keontae Gardner was indicted for aggravated murder, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. Christian Beasley, aka Boog, was also arrested and charged with murder. Police attempted to interview Beasley on July 22nd, but he asked for an attorney. Investigators soon found the murder weapon at the home of one of Beasley's friends, whom he borrowed it from. And, going back to Gardner's charges, they hit him with everything. He got a ton of charges, and rightfully so. He deserved them.
Yeah, for sure.
Beasley's phone records showed that on the way to commit the murder at 4:53 p.m., Beasley texted the gun owner, "When you shot that trap, you had to pull the hammer back or just pull the trigger."
So he's asking how to use the gun?
Yeah, the grammar doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I think that's exactly what he's doing. Because it turned out when Beasley's friend was interviewed, he relayed that he loaned a revolver to Beasley, which was now back at his apartment. He said Beasley bragged that he killed someone. So, all of that is incriminating. But going back to this question that he had, when you have a revolver, it can go one of two ways. You can have a double action revolver, which means you can just pull the trigger and it will fire. Or you can have a single action revolver, which means you have to kind of cock it first, right? You got to pull back on the hammer, kind of like you see in the old West movies. They had single action.
Yeah, like that. But that's why he's asking, because he wants to know how to use the gun when he gets to wherever he's going, because he plans on using the gun.
Yeah, it's a very incriminating question.
Yeah.
And again, it's being done over text, right? There's a clear record of it. But my thought is, okay, this guy's a drug dealer. I'm assuming he was probably familiar with guns just based on that vocation, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But most people who are familiar with guns are more familiar with like a semi-automatic pistol than they are revolvers. Not that many people have revolvers nowadays, especially, when you think about a drug dealer. I don't think most drug dealers are carrying around 6-shot revolvers.
Probably have a Glock or something like that.
Yes, something like that. Investigators had evidence showing Keontae was involved in Bobby's murder. But what they didn't have, Gibbs, was a motive, right? These are best friends. An in-depth review of Keontae's phone records led to the discovery that he was in a romantic relationship with Stacy, the mother of Bobby's child.
Well, now you got a little bit of motive, right?
Yeah, it was said that Keontae was jealous of Bobby and Stacy's co-parenting relationship and the fact that they still spent time together. Keontae complained to Stacy about how much time she spent with Bobby. So very similar to the issue that Angel had with Bobby.
Exactly.
That he and Stacy were still spending time together. Stacy was brought in for another interview. She acknowledged she was previously in a relationship with Keontae that Bobby and his family didn't know about, but the relationship ended months before Bobby was killed. Stacy told Keontae she was not going to stop communicating with Bobby because he was the father of her child. And again, like we said earlier, I think that's an unreasonable request.
Yeah, I do too. I think to even ask that of somebody,
it's just not right. Now, if they were sleeping together while you're trying to have a relationship with one of them, that would be a different story.
Sure.
But if they're just spending time together for the sake of the child or dropping the child off, right, back and forth, I mean, or talking on the phone about the child's well-being, how can you complain about that?
You really can't. And you have to realize that these conversations are going to go on for a lifetime.
Sure. One theory is that Keontae wanted Bobby's life and he wanted to be with Stacy, so he killed Bobby to get him out of the way. Keontae's cell communications with Beasley showed that the murder was planned. And, this is like, okay, what happened to the, hey, I owed this guy $10,000 and he said, hey, if you don't set this guy up, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
That seems to have kind of gone out of the window. The other thing, though, that I'm struck by is that it doesn't seem to me that Bobby really has to be out of the way. I get it. You're not crazy about the fact that they spend some time together. But how is he in the way of you having a relationship with this woman other than the fact you don't like the fact that they spend time together?
Yeah, I mean, it's what it really comes down to.
So to me, knowing all of that makes it that much more senseless. On July 3rd, there were 8 calls between Keontae and Beasley. Surveillance footage also placed the two conspirators together before and after the incident. On July 4th, Keontae withdrew $500 from an ATM. He then drove to the in-town suites in Coleraine, Cincinnati, where Beasley was living. 30 minutes later, Beasley was seen exiting the hotel and entering Keontae's vehicle, while his young son remained outside in the parking lot. He was in the vehicle for a few minutes, long enough to accept payment. So it seems to me, Gibbs, as though it's pretty clear that Keontae is paying Beasley for something. And I think you can make the connection that it is to kill his friend Bobby Farrell.
For only $500.
Now, yeah, I mean, again, no amount of money, but $500, is that the total? Is that a down payment? On the evening of July 5th, there were more calls between the two and messages between Keontae and Bobby attempting to get Bobby to meet up with him. He was unsuccessful in getting Bobby to go out that night. The next day, Keontae picked Beasley up at the hotel around 4:30 p.m. Beasley was lying in wait as Bobby entered the car. The 3 men were driving around for a while smoking marijuana before Beasley shot Bobby twice in the head. Keontae dragged Bobby's body out of the vehicle and put him by the trees on State Route 222. He then drove with Bobby's phone and threw it out of the vehicle in a different location. They attempted to clean out the car and get rid of evidence, but blood and a piece of the bullet's projectile was found in Keontae's vehicle. And, to me, again, I don't like to tell people how to commit these crimes.
Yeah.
But shooting someone in your car, that has got to be an extremely messy situation.
And going to make it tough to cover it up.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking about, that scene in Pulp Fiction where John Travolta accidentally shoots Marvin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they have to clean that car, and it's a real mess.
But they have that professional comes out and helps them.
The wolf?
The wolf.
Or, as you would say, the wolf. On October 15, 2021, Keontae Gardner pleaded guilty to aggravated murder and conspiracy to commit murder. On December 1st, 2021, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And, for me, that is a just sentence.
Sure it is.
Judge Richard Farrell called it one of the most cold-blooded murders he'd seen in his career. He told Keontae, as quoted by WCPO, it's unfathomable to me. I don't know how a brain can operate to do this to such a trusted friend. In the 44 years I've been a participant in the criminal justice system, this is one of the most brutal, cold-blooded, planned executions I've seen. 44 years is a long time.
That is a long time.
Means you've seen a lot of cases, and you're saying this is the most cold-blooded execution you've ever seen. And I think some of that has to do with the fact that, they were such good friends. And the motive behind this murder, Gibbs, seems to be absolutely trivial.
Yeah, because Stacy wasn't even with him at the time of the murder.
Yeah, I don't know if he thought he was going to be able to get her back without Bobby in the picture. It's hard to make sense of. It really is.
But he ends up losing the girl, the family,
his freedom,
and his best friend.
Bob Farrell said in court, "If my son brings somebody home and he loves them, we love them. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. We trusted our son, so why wouldn't we trust Keontae? We never got a reason why, so we're stuck and never got to say goodbye." Bob added, "He's never shown any remorse through this whole process at all. He played us like a fool. He was at our house swinging my granddaughter on the swing while he knew where my son was the whole time."
Wow.
And I think there you really feel the betrayal, right? We talked about all the different emotions that the family members would have. To me, this sounds like, this guy betrayed us. He betrayed our trust. Bobby's sister, Katie, also spoke in court saying, "He sat and watched as our whole world crashed around us for 6 days. He played with Bobby's daughter while we got fake ransom calls."
What echoes in my head still is where he says he showed no remorse during this whole process.
Even after he admitted
to
doing it. That's crazy. She recalled going for a ride with Keontae and recording it with his permission. She was hoping he could recall details of what happened the night Bobby went missing. She said, "I know we went the same route. He took my brother that night. We turned around 2 minutes from where he dumped his body." On July 23rd, 2022, Christian Beasley accepted a plea deal for aggravated murder and conspiracy to commit murder. On August 5th, he was sentenced to life in prison, plus 5 years for a firearm specification and 11 to 16 and a half years for conspiracy. So essentially, they both got life in prison. At his sentencing, Beasley's attorney said he was socially challenged with impaired judgment and committed the offense because he, quote, wanted to help someone else out.
I just wanted to help somebody for $500,
Now I want to help them by killing someone.
Yeah.
Now, Beasley himself said he knew what he did was wrong. He also said what I did was evil.
Sure was.
But he said the devil used him that day.
That devil. He's out there.
Bobby's family defended Keontae when investigators first suggested he could be a suspect. They fully believed he would never hurt Bobby. Keontae spent days looking for Bobby alongside them while knowing he was the reason Bobby never came home. Keontae had been harboring deep-rooted extreme jealousy for an unknown amount of time. Bobby's mother, Jenny, said that the betrayal of her son's best friend felt like somebody took my whole heart and just took it right out of my chest.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So Gibbs, as we wrap this one up, it's one I'm really struggling with because, murder is senseless. But this has got to be one of the most senseless murders I think that we've covered. The motive for murder here just absolutely makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Right. Now you have a daughter with no father, a family without a son, and this family that put all this trust into this individual that ended up being the one that took all the good stuff away from them.
Yeah. And, you have two individuals who essentially at a pretty young age forfeited their lives.
Sure did.
Over what? Beasley saying he wanted to help somebody out, maybe because he got a little bit of money. And, for Keontae, it was because he felt as though Bobby was spending too much time with Stacy. He was jealous of Bobby. He wanted Bobby's life. He wanted to be with Stacy. That's a reason for murder?
Well, clearly, Keontae wasn't man enough to do anything.
It's just shocking.
Yeah.
It is absolutely shocking. But that's it for our episode on Bobby Farrell Jr. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hi, this is Victoria calling from the great state of Wisconsin. I am a first-time caller, long-time listener. I've been listening probably a good 5 years to you guys. I absolutely love you both. But I'm just listening to your second episode on Frank Freshwaters. And when Mike said that Gibby was right, I thought I heard you choke on your words a little bit there. Just kidding. But you guys are absolutely amazing. I love the show, love all of the information you put into your episodes. Keep doing an amazing job and keep your own time ticking. Thanks, guys.
Oh, that's such a nice voicemail. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we do.
I heard Wisconsin. I immediately thought, I need some cheese curds.
Cheese?
Curds.
Just cheese in general, but you want some cheese curds.
I love cheese, but I really like cheese curds.
I've had some cheese curds over the last couple of days. They were pretty good.
Did you go on a cheese curd binge or something?
I happened to go to the same restaurant twice.
Okay, and got cheese curds both times? Okay.
Yeah, as their appetizer. I'm like, you know what? Those cheese curds were good the other day. Give me another order of those.
Do you want to share the restaurant? Is this something people would know, or?
Nah, it's a little
local
hole in the wall.
Yeah,
local,
local thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Seems strange when I brought up cheese curds. I did not realize we were going to go that direction.
I know.
But we appreciate the voicemail very much.
We do.
All right, buddy. That is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time. So for Mike
And Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.